Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how you utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have an awesome guest. He is the co-founder of Mad Paws, Australia's #1 online pet destination, which now owns many pet brands, including Australia's largest pet services marketplace, with 600,000 pet owners, including subscription offerings for pet food, toys, and treats. Mad Paws has raised several rounds of venture capital funding and has now gone public and is listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, and is the first startup to partner with Qantas, Australia's main airline, who also invested in the business. Mad Paws was awarded 14th place in LinkedIn Australia's top startup list of most sought after growth companies to work for when they were still private. He also co-founded the Sharing Hub, Australia's leading accelerator and co-working space for sharing economy businesses. He is one of the 30 on the Forbes 30 under 30 list 2019 and won Young Executive of the Year 2020. Welcome, Alexis Soulopoulos, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
You're very welcome, mate. It's so awesome to have you here, and I'm sure you're going to provide huge amounts of value for everyone watching and listening today.
I hope so.
I'm sure it will. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just initially, please introduce yourself by telling us a bit about you and your journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was studying here in Australia, and I was looking after my friend's dog. And we were also seeing a lot of marketplaces. Airbnb, Uber were starting to get a lot of traction. We said, hey, what if we had a marketplace model for pets? And could that be the first step to execute a bigger vision to ensure that pets live their happiest lives? And so we started with very little resources, but tested the idea in dog parks. Hey, what do you currently do when you go on holidays? Who looks after your pet? And people just, how people looked at us saying, hey, this is such a big problem that I would love you to solve. That was such a massive motivation for myself and the early team to really build it. And so we went about and built it, and absolutely nothing went according to plan 100%. We can get a bit deeper into that. But after a while, we started getting great traction, and we built, indeed, as you say, Australia's largest pet services marketplace, Mad Paws. Then what happened is we always wanted to do more, but then COVID happened, and the very first reaction of COVID to our business was no one travels in the very first lockdown. People don't go to work, so we suffered a very big revenue drop, and this prompted us to accelerate our vision. And this is when we launched our dog food, healthy dog food nutrition delivered to your door on subscription, tailored to your dog needs. That's when we launched that, and that really started taking off. And that's when we started thinking, okay, let's start executing more parts of our vision so that we can really give a holistic experience, a holistic solution to pets and their pet parents. And that's when we also did an acquisition. We partnered with Waggly, subscription for toys and treats. Fantastic business. People absolutely love it. And recently we made another acquisition as well, which is Sash Pets. It's amazing, beautiful dog furniture that fits in your home and gives pets an amazing experience. And yeah, this is how we're executing on our vision, with a lot more steps to go and a lot of excited animal lovers in our team. And yeah, we're just really excited doing all of this.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Lovely story. And I love how the vision starting early and then how it's, evolving and it will still evolve, I'm sure, over time. So love it, mate. And a lot of people know that you've got a lot of good knowledge and wisdom behind you as well, where you've graduated with a master's degree in international management at the University of Sydney with a business leadership scholarship, and a Master of Finance at the University of Antwerp, summa cum laude. So what made you do 2 master degrees, and what are the biggest things you learned from them?
This gets a bit back to upbringing. My parents, entrepreneurs themselves, they always had a vision saying, look, you do whatever you want, but our recommended path is to do really well in school, absorb all the knowledge you can in the areas that you're interested in. You choose what you're interested in, and then from there get some work experience and in corporations really, and then find your passion and start your passion, because our recommendation, but again you choose, is to be an entrepreneur. And took that first part of the journey really, really seriously. I thought, hey, if I work really hard in school and I make some connections here as well, and I absorb a lot of knowledge, now is the time to do it. I'm quite motivated for that, because I was kind of seeing a similar vision, like my parents, to be on this entrepreneurial journey, and that's how they told me to do it. And I guess that's why I was very motivated to do well in school and to absorb as much knowledge as I could.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that. Love the vision side of things. And, for us as entrepreneurs, if we are having kids, whether we have them now or in the future, how to really paint that for them. I think that's really powerful on what they helped you with there. And obviously, straight after university, you founded Mad Paws, right? Straight after you graduated, which I love. It was like, straight into it. There was no mucking around type of thing like that. Obviously, you would have been doing some work in the meantime, of course. So you talked about, that you got there and you started talking to these people and worked out that there was a pain point in the market. So initially, let's maybe talk a little bit wider and just say, how does Mad Paws help, the pet owners and pet sitters?
Well, so on the one hand, there is a need of pet owners. Hey, my dog is my fur baby. I absolutely love my cat. When I go on holidays, the traditional solution is either I take my dog to the kennel. A lot of dogs, frankly, don't like that, and the experience is not that great. And there are good kennels out there as well, but that is the general experience that we in our interviews heard. I ask my parents-in-law, my neighbor, my friends, but you can only do that so often, right? And there's the feeling of kind of awkwardness and a little bit, hey, I wish there was another alternative. And that's actually what many Australians do, is they simply don't go on holidays at all. You just very short intermezzo. You spoke about Qantas partnering with us. That's of course because they realized this is an enabler for people to travel. And how we solve indeed that problem is we connect pet owners with vetted, we take vetting very seriously, vetted pet sitters on our platform that we recommend to them based on distance, based on prior experience, based on reviews, based on how professional they are, and so forth. And we connect them. And then we put value-adding services in place, such as insurance, such as customer support, such as payment processing, and ensuring the payment is safe until everything has been really, really successful. And that's the marketplace that we operate. And what we solve there for pet sitters or daycare providers or dog walkers, with all of those, is we give them we give them a kind of to do something that they really, really love. They're all absolute pet lovers, and they get some extra income from that as well. And they get to make valuable connections with pet owners around the area. And so the experience is very, very positive. I must say, one of the things that I'm the proudest of the team that we've done with Mad Paws is build a really awesome and passionate and dog-obsessed, pet-obsessed community around the brand, both on the pet owner side as well as on the pet sitter side.
Yeah, love it, mate. Really powerful. And, we recently bought a cavoodle puppy and have used Mad Paws. When I found out about it multiple times, and it's been awesome for us to do, holidays and trips. So I'm definitely in your target market, and I completely agree that it is amazing. So for everybody, definitely get into it when we've gone away. So, some people, I want to go just slightly deeper, right? You talked about vetted, right? People in there, and some people may initially be hesitant, right? Because of the kennel experience or other things like that. So how does Mad Paws allow the pet owners to trust the platform and the pet sitters specifically, so that they can, choose the right one?
Well, that is indeed because we are very, very strict on quality. Think about it. If you have a company, like I also have a company, we also only want to work with employees that are very motivated to do a great job, that buy in our vision, and that are also experienced at doing the job. And from a pet sitter side, we think, hey, we want to work and have those pet sitters on our platform that are very motivated, that are experienced with pets, know what they're doing, and motivated, as I said, in it for the right reasons. And to do that, we do a vetting process, and it's a several-step process. It involves things such as studying an online material, taking an online test, uploading the right identification. We have optional police certificates, but nonetheless, I believe it's significantly north of 50% of pet sitters that have that. We then also give them a call before their first booking. And then there is the whole community review process. So before you, as a pet owner, go onto the platform, you'll be presented, you type in your area, and you'll be presented with pet sitters who have been vetted by us. In fact, sorry, I should have mentioned that number. It's a very small percentage. I need to check the latest, but it's 10 to 20% of applications that make it onto the website because of this very strict vetting. Now, when you go on there, you will see a list of pet sitters in your area, and they will have previous reviews of pet owners. So, and you can read the reviews and you can see, hey, actually this particular pet sitter has a lot of experience with cavoodles, and the reviews are just very, very positive.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that. Love how you've broken that down, and interesting about how many people come on the rigorous stuff. And I love the reviews and everything and the things to do it by, because it does help us, to make that decision. So really powerful. And now you've been scaling Mad Paws for over 7 years, right? Which is a great feat, because a lot of businesses don't necessarily last that long, but you guys are still on the up, and I'm sure it's going to be going for many, many years in the future. So you mentioned earlier at the start about having a lot of problems, issues, challenges, failures, whatever words we want to use. So what were some of the key ones that you faced along your journey that you had to overcome?
I mean, so early on, like you start something with a lot of ambition and a lot of excitement and trying to solve a problem. But, I was just out of university, and I had business partners on board who were on the board, and they gave a lot of insights, absolutely. And there was also some initial funding, but it was very little. We were a lean startup. And I'll just focus on one of the issues now, building a two-sided marketplace. Pet owners, pet sitters, that's what I mean with two-sided. It's not so easy. So we were actually pretty successful on getting the supply side on board very quickly. It was with things like I had connections at the Veterinary Society of the University of Sydney. So I was able to send them emails. It was with things like very similar to Airbnb, getting their first listings from Craigslist. Hey, why don't you list on this amazing website called Airbnb? It's already getting million views. But that's how they got a lot of listings for homes onto Airbnb from Craigslist. We very similar. Got a lot of pet sitters who are already advertising on Gumtree to list on our site and Gumtree and equivalents. And so we were doing pretty well in building a good base of supply. And then when we launched, it was with a big bang, I must say, because the press did really love the idea of Airbnb for pets, as it was at the time. It's not what we say now, but it was easy for people to get their head around. And we started getting pet owners to the website, and we started spending a little bit on paid performance channels and so forth. But that's when we run into the first big challenge we had, which was the chicken and the egg problem in marketplaces, or the liquidity problem in marketplaces. Do I first get all my supply, which is what we did, or do I first get all of my demand? And it's different for different marketplaces, but our issue was we had gotten all of this supply. It took us a good 3 months for most of those sitters to get their first booking inquiry. And by the time the first booking inquiry happened, those pet sitters were already doing other things, studying, traveling, driving Ubers, maybe pet sitting on another platform that existed at the time. So they were not engaged. And it makes sense, right? Like, you're not waiting for 3 months for your first booking to have, you're doing other stuff. So when that happened, we just had very low bookings. And I could see demand is here, supply is here. It's just not happening. Connection is not happening. It was so strange for me to think about it, because it was my first, my first step into tech world. And I thought, really, it sounds very naive now, but I thought at the time, the technology is gonna just solve it, because we spent, a good amount of time building the technology, and it really didn't. And data wasn't so easily at our fingertips as it is today. Thankfully, it is today. But at the time, it wasn't. And so I had to call in favors from people in my startup community, fish burners at the time. Hey, can you do some SQL queries for me to see what's going on in the data? And after I had the data, I could just see the connection is not happening. And so what we did, and it was a small team, it was me plus a casual. What we did is we just started calling every single pet owner coming to the site. Hey, it's Alexis from Mad Paws. That's amazing that you wanting to try us out to find a pet sitter. Bear with me, I'm gonna find you a fantastic pet sitter, okay? Okay, no problem. I would then call the pet sitter and I would say, hey, pet sitter, it's Alexis from Mad Paws. And the pet sitter would almost always say, what is Mad Paws? Because, what I explained to you, the liquidity problem. And I would explain it to them, blah, blah, blah. Hey, you can earn extra income looking after dogs, your passion. Ah, Alexis, that's great. Tell me the steps. And would then handhold them to make the connection. The first booking took me, no joke, 6 hours to close. But then that's when, if I had a growth curve now, I would show you very little daily bookings. And suddenly when we started picking up the phone, doing all of this manual, being super close to owners and sitters, our growth went from here to there. That's what happened. And then we couldn't keep calling anyone anymore. So we started texting them, and then texting them over the computer, thankfully. And then we couldn't do that anymore because it became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we coded all of those interactions, all of those, hey, you got a booking, hey, go onto the site, for 50 different situations that we learned only because we were talking to them so closely. And we coded that into technology. And that's when we could be less manual, we could be more scalable, and we really started seeing some fantastic growth.
Yeah, well, mate, love that. I love always awesome to hear the challenges, and then how you changed it, and just picking up the phone. It's amazing, right? How much picking up a phone initially can do to change a business, and then the automation part is really awesome there as well. How you've done the SOPs like a lot of businesses need, right? The standard operating procedures, and go, okay, how do we replicate this to scale? So I love that, mate. And obviously part of your scaling journey was raising several rounds of venture capital funding, right? So, and I'd like to know, what key things should we think about if we're a startup or wanting to get funding, right? From whether they're angel investors or venture capital, what should we think about, to scale it and ensure it's a success as well?
Yeah, look, I think so. Like a venture capitalist will always look at your business in a way like what can it become? And I think very important things to consider there, and you should as a founder consider them anyway as well, whether or not you want venture capital, because I think they're relevant questions to answer. The first one I think is market size. Is this in an interesting and large enough market to justify venture capital dollars going into it? And what are the trends in that market? Then I think what's really important as well is considering the founding team. Are they passionate? Are they in for the right reasons? Are they capable? What are prior experiences? And how do I have a connection with them as well, right? And what's the vision in order to address that market? And then I think what's really useful as well is to think about unit economics. And by that I mean, okay, so for us, consumer-facing marketplace, how much money am I going to spend on a variable cost basis to acquire pet owners and pet sitters? And then how much, as a revenue model, how much money will they generate over their lifetime in the future? Because if it's just not economical to acquire, a large amount of customers, then it's going to be very hard to scale. You can scale, but it will never become, a profitable story. And so I think that's why that one is very important as well.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Really powerful to think about these things when we're starting a business. Love it. And you've mentioned as well that Mad Paws is the first startup to partner with Qantas, right? And for all the overseas people, that's Australia's main airline. And so who also invested in the business, right, initially with Qantas Ventures. So how did you turn Qantas from an investor into a partner? And what should we look for when we're wanting partners as well?
Yeah, I mean, let me answer it backwards. What to look for? I think it's a thing such as vision is aligned, customer base is aligned as well. Like we definitely tried to send emails to very big databases that weren't necessarily very aligned, and nothing happened. Whereas in the case of Qantas, we thought, who would be the ideal partner? There would be a partner in pets landscape, but also a partner in travel. And Qantas is the airline with the largest customer base and a whole lot of brand equity in Australia. And so we saw a massive kind of synergy there. And then, of course, like what's also very important is that you fit into their strategy as well. Because, large companies or any company really doesn't have, like, would love to maybe help out a startup, but not on a consistent, ongoing, very serious, even when things don't work out as smoothly as we thought, basis, if it's not aligned with their strategy. And that's a little bit what happened with Qantas. Just very quick anecdote. I had, this is also relevant, I guess, for investing. I always had a list of potential future investors that I would just take along on the journey and give them updates. Here, here's what's going well. Here's what's not going so well. Here's what we're going to do in the future. Also, here's an ask if you know a great marketer, blah, blah, blah. And one ask I asked them is, hey, does anyone know a connection into Qantas? Because it's at the top of our list of partnerships. And yeah, one of the potential future investors just said, absolutely. And they connected us. And so we started having really good conversations at a very senior level at Qantas. And there was a lot of willingness to help us, to support us. But what wasn't there was their strategy wasn't necessarily to partner with startups, to invest in startups, to look for additional ways to unlock travel in that particular way. But what then happened, and this was pure luck, you got to have some luck sometimes as well. Qantas decided to change the strategy or add to the strategy and launched an accelerator and a venture capital arm. And so suddenly we went from, hey, this is interesting to, hey, this really fits into our strategy. And that really skyrocketed the conversations.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Really powerful. I love the connections and everything there. I think you'd probably agree that like networking, the relationships, the connections that we have with people, that could be a big difference, right? Between
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Now, obviously, you touched on it before where, you initially had Mad Paws as the double-sided marketplace. And then, with COVID sort of getting closer and everything like that, in 2020, you also launched a series of new pet-related businesses, right? With the pet insurance, dinner bowl, range of premium dog meals. And, now you've got the furniture and all of these things now. So was it really COVID that accelerated the expansion? It was their part of the vision. And then, how is that now, adding pieces, I guess, to the whole solution that's being solved?
Yeah. So it was always our vision. Let's ensure that pets live their happiest lives. And we knew in order to do that, we need to have touch points in more areas of pets and pet parents' lives than the services. That's amazing. It touches a lot, but not everything, or not everything where we wanted to play. And we would have always gone into pet food, dog food, for example, but definitely COVID, when first our revenue went down in the first lockdown, it was come on guys, let's think entrepreneurial again. How can we turn this around? And delivery businesses were booming. And so that's what prompted us to launch this sooner than we otherwise would have. And then of course, what happened was lockdown was over. Two things happened. The first one was everyone, like yourself, was suddenly considering, hey, I'm working way more from home now. Actually, it's a lot of like, it's amazing spending time with a dog or a cat or so. Let's get one. And so what happened is there were 20 from pre-COVID to kind of nowish or a couple of months ago. There's 25% more dogs in the market in Australia, and also 25% more cats, 25%. So imagine that a population, it's a dog or a cat population or any population, just increases by a quarter. It's massive, right? And so that happened. But what also happened is, as soon as lockdowns were over, our marketplace started firing again, like a lot of traffic. And we saw even different dynamics, positive dynamics. And we really think they came from all of those new puppies and all of those new kittens in the market. And so investors also saw that and also saw the trend, speaking about markets and market trends. And so the opportunity became, because all investors also say this, to grab this opportunity, I guess, in an accelerated way, well thought through, but accelerated way. So we had the opportunity to list on the ASX, and that's what we did then. And then the next part in our journey was scale the marketplace, scale dinner bowl, the pet food business, but also we made an acquisition of a brand that really nicely fitted into our strategy. It's toys and treats delivered monthly to your dog. Waggly is what the business is called. And it was just such a good fit because we're all about, being mad obsession for dogs, Mad Paws for cats as well. And just that joy that pet owners and their pets have when they get that monthly box with amazing toys and treats. We thought that's amazing. And so we made an acquisition, and has been going really, really well. And you can see how all of these things fit in really well. Hey, when the dog goes on a staycation, is what we call them, to the pet sitter, do you want some treats with that? And then treats are being tried. And then, hey, we also have very healthy pet nutrition. Do you want to try that as well? So you can see how the cross-selling between the businesses and from a customer point of view and our point of view as well, building an ecosystem that really solves the users and the pets problems better than the individual parts. You can see how that's coming together.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Love that. Love the entrepreneurial problem solving and putting all those parts.
Thank
And
you.
this is the power also of acquisitions, right? In a business, sometimes it's easier to acquire a business and bring that in rather than trying to start multiple from scratch. So I think you guys
for
did very
sure.
well.
There's a lot to figure out. Like you also know as an entrepreneur, it's not easy, and you're gonna through trial and error, like learn a lot. And if you can, I guess, skip the trial and error and also take in an amazing team and someone that started the business because this was their vision and that was what they set out to do. If you can partner with them, I think that's really, really powerful.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Love that. And more recently, you also co-founded the Sharing Hub, right? Which is Australia's leading accelerator and co-working space for the sharing economy businesses. With many other leading CEOs together, you've all done that. So what made you co-found it and how does it help entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah, I think what we did is with the CEOs of Spacer, Car Next Door, Zoom2, Amplify, a few others, we were just having, pizzas and beers as entrepreneurs do and exchanging insights, right? Hey, how do you do customer acquisition? Which SEO strategies work for you? What about this demand and supply liquidity that you and I already had a good chat about earlier? And we saw, hey, there are a lot of similarities in these marketplace businesses. Why don't we first and foremost go under the same roof? And so we found a good space and we all got under the same roof with some more space for other potential marketplaces. And then we started organizing catch-ups with more and more early marketplaces and also bigger marketplaces. And I think the massive value that comes from, for us and for others as well, is that exchanging of insights, things that have been done before, so you don't have to go through a trial and error. And that's just been very useful in scaling all of our businesses and other marketplaces as well.
Yeah, awesome, mate. I love it. Very powerful stuff there. And you've also been a guest lecturer at many of Australia's leading universities. So what made you go down that path? I know you obviously one of your masters was at University of Sydney, right? So there was obviously a good connection there, but there's other universities as well that you're doing this guest lecturing at. So what made you go down that path and how do you get involved with the university's degrees as well?
Yeah, listen, I think I just told you my story, how I started. I was a student who had a lot of passion and excitement to be an entrepreneur and to solve this particular problem, but I didn't have a lot of knowledge. And so I have had benefited so much from universities through a number of ways. Entrepreneurship classes while I still at universities, connecting me with a number of really amazing entrepreneurs. The University of Sydney even kind of gave us for free their business school campus to do our launch event. And then there were all sorts of connections from the business school that helped ignite our initial press attention, which was amazing. And so I really felt, and then what I also want to say, on the other hand, I was inspired myself when I was sitting in an entrepreneurship class, and actually one of the co-founders of Pet Circle came to present about their amazing business. And I was just so excited about all of that. And there were a number of other guest speakers throughout my time at university that were entrepreneurs and that I was just really motivated by. And so I thought, hey, this is actually a really great way to give back and maybe also spark some motivation to explore entrepreneurship, whether to start something or join a growth company or so for students. And I just did one or two, and then those professors connected me with other professors and they reached out. And I must say, every time I have these interactions with a classroom of students at university, it's amazing. Like, yes, I feel I'm doing something positive, but then I get so much back. There is so much excitement and so much interest for the startup ecosystem, for growth businesses, for solving problems in different disruptive ways from those students that, it gives a lot to me back as well.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful, really awesome. So coaching and mentoring is becoming a lot bigger, right? And you've obviously got your startup hub, right, where you're doing a lot of that, where you're helping a lot of the businesses there. Now, I would like to know in your journey, how has coaching mentoring helped you, in business along there?
Look, it helped me. It helped me a lot, absolutely a lot. I was very fortunate to have a really strong team of board members and advisors around me from the start. In fact, now my co-founder, Justus Hammer, he was originally one of the kind of board members, advisors, and now together with me, he's in the business and we're running it together, which is really, really awesome for me because I get to learn even so much more for someone so amazing as him. And what I will also say is, even beyond my immediate business partners, advisors, and so forth, anytime I needed some advice in Australia, I've been amazed by how many people were willing to give that advice. From entrepreneurs, from high-level executive at some of the great buildings behind you in your screen, from marketers. I told you I was in a startup hub with no idea about code, and we were building this website, and just asking very senior technologists to help me out. Like, they were just giving their time, and I think that's been amazing. And I couldn't have done, especially the early months of the startup journey, in the position I was without all of that. And so I've been extremely grateful for that. And that's also the reason that when people reach out to me, I always try to make the time. If I'm really busy, it's on a phone call. If I have more time, we catch up. But that's something that I think it helped me. And so it's important for me to give back as well.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. Completely agree. And obviously, you've got your own business. You're connected to a lot of entrepreneurs, and you've obviously got through the marketplace there and the startup area that you guys running there. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you're seeing people are doing in their businesses that, must be rectified?
I mean, as a pattern, right? Every business is different, but I think as a pattern, if I had to call out one thing that I was also very guilty of, that's why I see it so well, is lack of focus. And there are so many things that seem really important, but if you don't have a very clear, call it North Star metric, and ensure that your actions and your strategies and your planning all guides towards that North Star metric, then it becomes very challenging. Now, as you grow bigger, there may be multiple important things, but now specifically speaking about the early days, when you're a small team, when you have little resources, I do think that being very clear about what is your North Star metric for us was connections between pet owners and pet sitters, and ensuring that you question for every moment of time that you invest, is this going to lead indirectly or directly for me achieving my goals for that North Star metric? It's very important because, I mean, very short story, at the beginning, we had so much press, we had so much user signups, we had so much pet sitter signups, but I told you the actual connections weren't happening. But I didn't see that for the first 3 months because I was so excited. Look, my face is in the press. Look, we've gotten thousands of user signups. Look at all these pet sitters. Look at this great brand ambassador that we signed up. It's all important stuff, but you've got only so much time. So if the connection is not happening, there is no business. If there is no business, there is no next future capital raising. There is no attracting of employees and so forth. And I think that focus and being very clear about the metric that you want to focus on is key.
Yeah, love that, mate. Completely agree. So yeah, we connected through our networks where I learned about your awesome journey from graduating with 2 master degrees to co-founding Mad Paws and co-founding the Sharing Hub, among the other businesses that you've acquired and built from there. You're an awesome guy, and I'm sure you continue to help pet owners connect the trusted pet sitters and all the other elements of the marketplace with pets, and help startup entrepreneurs to accelerate their success. I'm very grateful that we connected, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So Alexis, how can people find you, get in contact with you?
Yeah, so my email is alexis at our company, which is madpaws.com.au. That would be the best way, but absolutely do get in contact. Alexis at madpaws.com.au. And also check out our websites. It's Mad Paws, it's Didderable for food, it's Waggly for toys and treats, and it's Sash for some really awesome dog beds and other furniture.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Definitely check it out. I use Mad Paws. It is an amazing platform. I'm now going to delve into the additional things that they have. So it is amazing. And you can see just how amazing Alexis is as well with all of the amazing value that he shared with us today. So thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you will know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.